G'day viewers, have a look at that. Isn't that pretty? All that lovely gold plating. So, a bit of a follow-up on my pile of cable that was sitting here yesterday. Well, it's still sitting here, but it's all now been processed. All the ends have been cut off. I ended up with 87 kilos of mid-grade cable and 16 kilos of data cable, which gives me a total value of 380 bucks. That'll be going down to Melbourne to Manharis on Thursday, along with a whole pile of other stuff. And I ended up with about half a tub of laptop power supplies. I really don't know what to do with them. I can't bring myself to throw them away. They're not hard to get apart. A few belts with a hammer along the side and they just fall apart and the board falls out in your hand. But then you're left with the job of getting a lot of tiny little bits and pieces off the board. And maybe one day I'll build a shredder and put it all through a shredder and try and extract it with a shaker table or something. I'm not really sure yet, but I can't bring myself to throw them away because there's value in them. Down in here we've got half a milk crate full of computer mice. I processed them. I'll show you why in a minute. Over here we have a boom dog. You're a good little man, aren't you, mate, eh? Aren't you a good boy? He's a ripper little dog, that bloke. You come over here and there's a pile of low-grade cable that I've been just throwing in there, and I'll take that down with me too now. So, one or two low-value CPUs, some better CPUs, a toroidal transformer that come out of a power amp. I'm going to try and sell that because apparently they're worth a few bob. And down in here we have all these. These are 3-pin plugs and AC adapters for various things. I do process them. A lot of people wouldn't bother, especially not with these. I get the brass out of them. People, usually if someone's watching me do it, they say it's a waste of time. Well, I don't mind the mess on my floor. Everything's going to undergo a big change here shortly. That's a coil of 2.5mm solid copper wire that I'm sending to a friend. She makes jewellery with it. So I've got a plug-in device here. I'll show you how hard it is to get them out. 1, 2, 3, you're done. That now goes as scrap plastic, and you're left with 3 pins. Now, I've already checked with my scrapyard. I haven't sold any of these yet, but I've checked with my scrapyard and they will give me clean brass for them. It doesn't matter that they've got copper tails on them. Copper on brass improves its value. Brass on copper doesn't. That's because brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. Copper's a pure metal. So having the copper on doesn't matter, and I get clean brass for them, which is currently $7.15 a kilo, and I can produce about, I usually, when I decide to do it, I'll come out in the shed and get the music playing and have a few beers and just stand here and pull pins. And when I first start, I'm making about 34, 35 bucks an hour, and by the time I'm finished, I'm usually down to about 20 bucks an hour because the beers are starting to have an effect. That's just me cutting these plugs off the ends of cable. That's as hard as it is. This is all, well, I ended up with about 7 kilos of plugs. Now, that's what this is. This is one of the plugs I recover. I get a hell of a lot of these type. I get a lot of these. Some of these are really good. That one there is not bad. That one there is barely worth it. You know, and you get a lot of this sort of stuff. That's a gold-plated USB plug. That's a gold-plated speaker jack. This has got little tiny gold pins in it, but I don't know what it is, haven't got a clue. These are, I don't know, some kind of connector plug. You look down in there, you can see the nice gold pins in there. They're not hard to pull apart, and that's what comes out of them. That's good quality gold plating on there, and it goes right through to the solder joint, so they're worth getting. Where are we? These things here, I don't know what they are. If you look in there, you can see gold plated connectors, and they look nice, and the gold plating on them is nice. It's decent gold, but here's one I prepared earlier. You can see how far the gold actually goes. What gold is there is reasonable. There's just not much of it. This is a better version of these type. You don't see many like that. These little plugs here, that's what they look like inside. Again, the gold plating on them is not bad, but there's precious little of it. I got this out of one board. I have no idea, or not out of a board, out of what I thought was a USB at first. It wasn't, it had this in it. And you can see the gold plating on the ends of those diodes at the bottom. So that was a, you know, nice little score. You get here, this is why I keep computer mice. They're not all like it, right? This is your normal everyday mouse with the, what do you call it? Your little infrared sensor in the bottom. The ones with the ball in them don't have it, but you don't see many of them these days. That's the chip in the middle. You can see on that one that there's really not much there worth getting. That's the chip that come out of one. You can see it's got almost no gold on it. But then you get this board here, and you can see good gold on the legs, and that's one of the chips that come out of it. You can see the gold in it. It's probably not the best quality gold, but it's going to be dead easy to get. So I'm quite happy with them. You also get another sort of mouse like this. I only got about, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these. They had their own battery in them. They have two boards in them. This is the top board. You can see the quality of the gold in the chip. It's very good. And this is the bottom board. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tactile switches in it. Excuse me. Dogs, quiet. Got 6 little tactile switches in it, which have silver contacts. But it's also got that. That is a quite nice sized gold band crystal oscillator. As far as I'm aware, they are the highest per gram of weight producer of gold that you'll get out of an electronics, apart from some of the CPUs maybe. I watched a video on YouTube where a guy got 14 grams of gold from a kilo of these. So they're very, very well worth getting. And these things. These are more of those adapters that I mentioned earlier. I would have gotten 60 or 70 of these, some a bit bigger, some a bit smaller. That's about as big as they get, some are smaller. To separate them, serious, one hit there, the two halves fall apart and the transformer will fall out in your hand. All right, now don't be deceived by 2 trannies in my hand, I've got bloody big hands. There's just under 1 kilo of weight there, which is these are going for $1.02 a kilo as is. They're not worth stripping the copper out. You're better off to just sell them as they are. But yeah, well worth doing. And they will get put with all the transformers and little motors you can see under there. And the pile of motors down there, and there's transformers down there too, which will make it quite worth it. And that little box of brass there, that little milk crate of brass, it's $420 worth of brass in that. Very happy with that. So yeah, all this will get put with a whole pile of other scrap I've got, and I'll be doing a scrap run on Thursday, so I'll do another video and show you what I got out of it. And I might be away for a little while because I've got to spend a few days out in my yards. I've got a lot of scrap plastic and glass and what have you from CRTs and televisions and whatnot to get rid of. And it has to be done straight away because I've seen 2 brown snakes in my yard in the last week. My yard isn't particularly messy or anything, but I do not want anywhere for a snake to hide, so the yards are going to be spotless by the end of next week. I'm going to show you this little thing here. This is a CRT and yoke that come out of some kind of camera. It's like a little viewer or something. It was in the pile of cable. It was damaged and had no markings on it. I don't know exactly what it is, but it had this in it, and that's a little tiny CRT, which is a cathode ray tube, same as a picture tube in your television, and that's the induction yoke. I think they're called an induction yoke that goes over it. I'm keeping that because I reckon that's the sexiest little CRT I've ever seen. And for those of you who are wondering what Milbury cable looks like, it's alright little mate, stay there. This box here is full of this. Well, not full of it, I wish it was. That's Milbury cable. 185 square millimetre cable. There's about $130 in that box, so I'm pretty happy with that. And of course there's a mountain of phones and whatever that have all got to go too. I can't wait to get in here and clean this bloody mess up. I've got a new shed coming that I'm putting out in my paddock, and once I get that set up, anything that doesn't relate directly to scrapping in here will be going out into that shed. My scrapping bench will be moved back to the wall behind me. I'll be able to put my fume hood over in this corner. I've got everything I need over on those shelves to start producing gold. All I need is a fume hood and a mask and I'm ready to go. So I will be starting that very soon. Please just be patient. And I've got a bit of scrapping to do over there yet too. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm pretty happy with things generally speaking. Very happy with my results from yesterday. I love it when I see plugs like this. That's beautiful. Anyway, if you like that, if you got something out of it, think about leaving a like and subscribe, eh? Cheers for now. Bye.